If you've ever noticed that some people can't stand being interrupted, even in casual conversations, you might have thought they were just impatient or controlling, but it doesn't look like a big deal. The way they react, a subtle pause, a quick, sharp glance, a slightly raised voice, says more than you think. It's not just about annoyance, it's about something deeper, something rooted in how they've learned to protect their mental space and their voice in the world. At first glance, it might seem like a simple preference for uninterrupted conversation, but when someone consistently reacts strongly to interruptions, it's often tied to a need for control. Not in the sense of wanting to dominate others, but in the sense of maintaining the mental clarity and space they feel is essential to think and process. That quick jolt when someone speaks over them is more than frustration. It's a signal that their inner space feels invaded, that their thoughts, however fleeting, are being dismissed. You might notice these behaviors in everyday life. Someone carefully choosing their words, pausing before speaking, making sure the timing feels right, or lingering on a point a little longer, as if to make sure it lands fully. They might double-check their thoughts in text messages, hesitating to hit send until everything feels precise. These are small, subtle actions, but they reveal a mind that craves order, clarity, and the simple dignity of being heard fully. And here's where it gets interesting. Often, this pattern traces back to experiences where their voice wasn't always respected, times in childhood when interruptions were common, when their opinions were overlooked, or when speaking up felt unsafe. Over time, the nervous system learns to anticipate dismissal. It creates an internal alertness, a subtle tension that reacts quickly to perceived disruption. That instant irritation when someone cuts them off isn't arbitrary. It's a protective mechanism, a way of asserting that their thoughts and presence matter. You might see this behavior extend beyond conversation. Perhaps they prefer writing over speaking, where they can control timing and expression. Maybe they hold back laughter or sighs in a group, carefully managing reactions. Even body language reflects this. A slight lean back, a pause in movement, a cautious scan of the room. It's all a dance of preserving mental space, of carving out a small pocket of autonomy in a world that often feels noisy and chaotic. And yet the real reason isn't what most people think. It's not about confidence or arrogance. It's about control in a very quiet, deeply internal sense. Control over one's own mental landscape. It's a signal of self-preservation, an identity marker that says, I matter, my thoughts matter, my voice matters. When you understand it this way, what might have seemed rigid or irritable becomes a reflection of awareness and boundaries, not a flaw. There's also a deeper layer here, a connection to sensitivity. People who are easily interrupted often notice details others miss. They track social cues, shifts in tone, fleeting expressions. Their attention is finely tuned, which makes disruption feel magnified. When someone interrupts, it's not just a break in conversation. It's a disturbance in a carefully monitored environment of thought, emotion, and observation. Once you see it, you can't unsee it. That subtle tension, the careful timing of words, the brief pause when someone speaks over them, it's all part of a pattern shaped by experiences, by identity, and by the simple human desire to be fully acknowledged. And that awareness alone changes how you move through interactions, both with yourself and with others. It was never random, it was a pattern, and understanding that pattern can shift the way we perceive impatience, irritability, and the silent signals that people send. People who can't stand being interrupted aren't just reacting. They're protecting a part of themselves that's been conditioned to value uninterrupted attention, to preserve the dignity of thought and the safety of expression. If this explained something for you, there's more to uncover. Understanding yourself, noticing the small patterns in behavior, is the beginning of recognizing how identity and experience shape even the tiniest reactions.